The sexual orientation field MSG adds in the lawsuit against Wired was used for, quote, inclusion-oriented outreach. We paid a lawyer to write that shit.
I know. We look. If we need the facial recognition software to tell us if there's a gay person on premises, because we need to get them some free snacks. Okay, I want to upgrade their seat immediately.
You tear down the house, then you put up the rent. You pocket the cash, and you crush all dissent.
Hello and welcome to the Red Diaper Pail, episode 49. We are recording on Monday, August 3rd, 2026. Right?
Yep, usually. At least lately.
This is a podcast about art, culture, history, politics, technology, and parenting from a left perspective, and my name is Simone.
And I'm John Paul. Sorry, folks, about last week. We have managed to get an episode out at least once a week.
I don't know how
Come hell or high water.
I don't know how we managed it because last week was like not abnormally difficult.
It was just a one too many things piled up. I was getting very behind on work, and the children were home from camp, and it was just a little bit too much. So thank you for giving us a little hiatus. I hope you enjoyed that episode. It was a fun little experiment. I might try and make a cool YouTube video out of that one. It's very good. I enjoyed listening to it again. It's a very good article.
Thank you.
Very well written and very smart. Thank
you, John Paul. My eldest listened to me record it and then wanted to listen to it twice more.
just because of your voice, like just bathing in your voice.
Yeah, no, I think he's like somewhat motivated by the ideas because he's like, because we've talked about a lot of these things around like striking and unions and stuff, and then to hear it in hear those ideas in a different context, I think he was like, that's what we talked about.
So he's putting things together now.
A little bit.
That's cool. It seemed maybe a little too high-minded for a child, but
not our child, John Paul.
and not our super intelligent child.
Anyways, do you want to do horrible headlines?
I guess I do.
Okay. Are you familiar with the Michigan Senate Democratic primary?
Unfortunately, I have been forced to become aware of this.
Everyone must be aware of this. Abdel El-Sayed is out to prove establishment Democrats wrong. This is a CNN headline. Party establishment figures believe that El-Sayed's candidacy risks costing Democrats a critical Senate seat, and he's campaigning to prove them wrong. As of recent polling, he is now up double digits over Representative Haley Stevens, who has the great pleasure of receiving $50 million of AIPAC alliance spending to help her apparently still lose.
The most expensive Senate primary in U.S. history, and is primarily over whether this one Senate seat will remain a rabidly pro-Israeli seat or not. And she's like downplaying the how bullish she is on Israel, but you should not for a second believe that that's not because she's been coordinated to do so by AIPAC in Israel itself in order to get her into office, where she will then vote exactly how they want.
AIPAC is an entire department now that's just reverse psychology. It's just the reverse psychology department. Yes.
I mean, El-Sayed is not establishment Democrat. He's been running as a Democrat, and he's not a social Democrat. He's not DSA affiliated. He's just a progressive Democrat who doesn't like Israel.
He's what we call DSA style.
DSA style. In what sense? In like
he is, whether he wants to or not, he has picked up the vibes.
Yeah. Okay.
Of a DSA candidate, which I think is basically an anti-Israel. Like anyone who's running against genocide might be a DSA style.
Right. Well, this is what my worry is like the genocide was important because it revealed to people what the Democrats were fundamentally. And I think now I'm afraid what will happen is people will say, actually, the problem wasn't a fundamental thing. It was this one issue they got wrong. And as long as we find Democrats who are not just willing to like say Israel should change a little bit, but like is sort of full-throatedly against it, it's going to rehabilitate the brand. Like I don't think he gets the bona fides of being like an anti-establishment Democrat like other people do.
Well, I don't know.
Guess. I mean, I don't know much
he's
about
never
him, honestly.
taken any corporate money.
Okay.
He's running on Medicare for all as a policy, which is not anyone else in the campaign is running for that. He's picked up the endorsements of all of the DSA candidates.
Mm-hmm.
And of course the big Piker endorsement.
The much coveted. The Democrats have been selling people this idea for a really long time is like, and we've talked about it before, don't vote for what you want. You have to understand that your duty to the country is to vote for what you think some imaginary swing voter wants, because that's the only way to win elections. And they've been selling that as the obvious strategy regardless of whether they win or lose. And when they lose, they go, well, we ran too much to the left. We need to run more to the right next time, and then we'll surely win. It seems obvious to me at this point that the only way the Democrats win is if they energize their base. You want people to be excited enough to wait in line to vote, which they're not going to do for Hillary Clinton, and they're not going to do for whatever this woman is with her fake
Haley Stevens,
her fake Michigan accent that she had for one video and then disappeared after that.
They were like, that didn't test well, Haley. You're gonna need to stop that.
It turns out that all the people you need to vote for you really actually don't like the way you sound.
They really don't even like you. They're really it's just the Israel vote.
It's just to turn them off even more to hear you.
Mostly the voters are voting because they have been scared off of voting for a Muslim man. So maybe just don't talk, Haley Stevens.
Yeah. The polls say that they've become increasingly concerned they'll hear you talk again if they elect you. Like, and those people not only show up to vote, but they also give money. But another thing they do is they convince people that they should also be excited about it, right?
Sure.
Like people who weren't following it, wouldn't care about this woman if she was running, but they have friends who are like not just willing to go vote, but like,
exciting.
This is exciting, this is important. They get those people to go. They maybe change some people's minds. That seems to me the obvious way you win. But I think it is important at this point to point out that the Democratic Party is not focused on winning per se. They would like to win, but only on their terms. Their real utility to the ruling class is to get you to support them in spite of what they believe, not because of what they believe. So if they have to win by giving you what you want, they have lost their utility to the ruling class and are no longer like a worthwhile endeavor. That's like, there's also like the whole, like, they're passing money around, these consultant class, and they need to continue to like perpetrate this scam for eternity. All that's true too, but I think that's the real thing that's going on here.
Yeah.
Their job is to convince you about Israel, not to be responsive to the Democratic base, turn away from Israel. Their job is to get you to vote pro-Israel anyway.
Speaking of pro-Israel, rabidly pro-genocide, U.S. Representative Max Miller of Ohio has denied hurting his ex-wife and 2-year-old daughter and says he will not drop his re-election bid. His ex-wife is Bernie Moreno, who is a senator. Mm-hmm. His daughter, Emily Moreno, was married to this Max Miller character, who is a representative out of Ohio. And she has accused him of throwing hot water on her, of holding a gun to her head.
Oh, my God.
And potentially breaking the collarbone of their toddler.
Oh, my God.
She is
toddler.
They have a 2-year-old that he has joint custody over. So she's been trying to manage him. And so is Bernie Moreno, which is why they're claiming they did not bring this out earlier because they were trying to manage a custody issue. Bernie Moreno is the only Republican politician who has called for this guy to step down or remove himself from the race. He is, and this woman, his ex-wife, is not the first woman to have accused him of domestic abuse. He threw a woman down the stairs in college. The other politically affiliated people he's been in relationships with have come out, right-wingers have come out and accused him of being an abuser. He is a monster created by the Trump administration. After he left college, or maybe was thrown out because he was an asshole, he joined the campaign, this 2016 campaign. He worked in the White House during the first term, and he served as a deputy campaign manager in the 2020 campaign. He's also worked on Rubio's, and he was in Rubio's 2016 campaign and then moved over to the White House, to Trump's.
Okay.
And then after he got a complete and total endorsement from Trump, he won the 16th district in Ohio. He is rabidly like pro genocide. Like he's like feral about his
like
position on
we're
it.
not killing enough. That's the real problem.
Yes.
here.
So he decided last night to do an 18-minute live on X explaining that his ex-wife was full of shit and that he in fact had not done any of these things.
Oh, this was just her attempt to get the custody.
Yeah, like for example, they met at a playground a couple days after one of the supposed incidents for him to see his daughter. Like, why would she do that? And he also noted that she offered to make him empanadas. So obviously, like no woman who's dealing with a abusive man that she has to have some sort of relationship with because they share custody has ever done any of that.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like sick. Listening to him was sick. It's a horrible audio. Do not listen to it. I mean, this guy's a sicko. You can tell he's an abuser just by listening to him.
This is the tact that a lot of what is this guy, Michael Tracy, and these people who are. It is now become the job of women to plan ahead for their public scrutiny over their abuse.
Well, it's not
by behaving like a properly abused person in the moment, which is to say, to sacrifice any chance of getting the current situation to work for you because you will then be questioned on why you did anything.
I mean, this isn't a new phenomenon, but it is
Sure.
sort of a backlash against Me Too, where it's like we're not going to trust women, we're actually going to actively distrust everything they say, which is of course how thousands of years of history have gone. But you're not abused good enough. You're not doing it good enough. Everything about you is questionable. You really can't be trusted. You're not logical or rational.
Yeah. And I think question things that don't make sense. How is it possible that this happened and there's no medical history of it or there's no blah, blah, blah? That's fine. But the individual choices, like the Graham Plattner thing where she's sitting there on the bed with him, he's drunk as hell, and she doesn't call the police. This is Michael Tracy's evidence that she's lying.
Yeah.
When all it is evidence of inability to do any perspective taking at all on your part.
Me thinks Michael Tracy protests too much.
Yeah.
There's some shit.
I think the shit is he likes to be hated on the internet.
Okay, so he's got a psychodrama, but also he's really hung up on women lying about their abuse.
Oh yeah,
Oh, also the scalding water incident. He was secretly recording audio of his conversations with her because he's not a psycho.
Yeah, that's a big no-no.
And apparently it's legal in Ohio, but
Oh my God.
And so he
it isn't though it isn't legal to film the police there.
They have their priorities straight. He released the audio of the two of them discussing the water incident.
Mm-hmm.
But in the discussion that he released of the water incident, he's basically admitting that he might have splashed her with some water from the faucet, but that couldn't have possibly been scalding. But when he talked about the incident and the marks that she had on her skin, he said, oh, that was from a sunburn or something. So he's not even, I mean, this psycho is doing 18-minute lives and leaking audio that he has between the woman he's in a joint custody of his 2-year-old daughter. And he can't even keep his goddamn story straight. And no one has called for him to step down or get out of the race.
After hearing about how the Republicans are always
Right.
they always get rid of these guys, that wasn't obviously untrue. So that's the real question is this is a real thing still for progressive candidates is you cannot be accused of this shit if you want a political career. It makes sense to me why someone like this would be a MAGA person. That I think is a pretty obvious.
Yes. Self-evident.
Self-evident. Why do the MAGA people not go after people like this, get rid of them?
Because
that's the real question.
They're protecting their own.
It's just like an instinct that what it is then is an instinct that because the Democrats don't protect their own. So the instinct is that this accusation is not damaging enough to the movement for us to not close ranks around him, which is, I think, to say that the movement has this is my suspicion, has a high tolerance for people abusing what is considered to be their own property,
right.
their own women and children.
I think it's important politically for them to rally around that kind of behavior. It's not just, oh, we protect our own, unlike those cowardly Democrats who can't do anything right. It's that this mindset, this type of behavior, this type of action is not a problem. And we don't want to alienate our people by making it a problem, but we also need it to not be a problem, so it won't be a problem.
Mm-hmm. The accusation, I mean, to put a fine point on it, if an immigrant or a Muslim was accused by a white woman of doing these things.
That would be a problem.
Or even can you imagine a Muslim breaking the collarbone of a white child? They would be lynched by these same people who don't think this is a big idea. And the point I'm making here is that it is the existence of abuse isn't what's operating here. It's like who gets to do the abusing is, I think, a big part of what's operating here, which is why a lot of this feels hypocritical.
Yes,
because it is fundamentally about who gets to do it and who doesn't.
Speaking of the imagery and headlines of like a Muslim being abusive, that's what they're trying to stick to El Said in Michigan.
Yeah.
Now, of course, we're talking on the other side. We're talking about this is the Democratic race, which I guess they are less tolerant of sexism and abuse supposedly. But I mean, it's like equal opportunity opera research. Like that, like it is, that kind of abuse is a problem for everybody. But a white congressman who is a known dickhead abuser, like from his entire adulthood, is not a problem for anybody. I mean, the Democrats, you Democrats can't even go after him the way they'd go after their own. Like it's just an acceptable mode of behavior for certain groupings of people who operate in certain circles.
Mm-hmm.
And I bet you nothing happens. I bet you this blows over. The only reason this has gotten play at all, I think, is because of his ex-wife's father being a Republican senator. And I bet you it blows over, and we don't hear about it. And he runs and he wins.
I have an inkling. I mean, I don't know how conservative that district is. Is it really conservative?
It's a conservative district. They also really don't want to lose it, though. That's another. But it's like, is this?
Oh, if it's in danger of losing it, my guess is he wins the primary and loses the general.
Well, then maybe they should kick him out because maybe it'd be better for their politics, not their politics.
Or they're going to
better
lose it
for
regardless
winning the
of who
seat.
they run.
Yeah.
One thing about El Said too is like, they're doing like I'm sure that they're every inch of his past they're sniffing around for stuff, but in the lieu of being able to find it, the innuendo about him
just as
which
good,
is,
right?
It's racist, but it's also like you all are like woke is done. Woke is a destructive force. We cannot have woke. We can't run on woke politics, blah, 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 unless it's a Democratic Party primary against a DSL style candidate. And then we can woke it up as much as we want.
Yeah.
Right? It's like, that's the thing. It's like this thing that it poses, like, this drives me crazy. And I heard someone articulating this well, is the degree to which like racism and sexism is a problem amongst the left is a function of the fact that white supremacy and sexism are everywhere in society and affects all parts of society, even the parts of that society which are trying to change itself.
Right.
It isn't a special feature of the left, and to the degree that it exists to the left of the Democratic Party, it's 10 times worse than the Democratic Party. But these people want to they want to be like, it doesn't matter what your policies are, it doesn't matter who you want to empower politically. Personally, if you care about sexism and racism, you have to move to the establishment, is the narrative here.
Yeah, but I will point out two things. It's not particularly woke to be Islamophobic. So they're deploying a type of woke, a sexism type of woke.
Oh, that's like what Hillary Clinton did to Obama.
Right. But they're very much also playing on a very, I think, anti-woke ideology, which is that he is an outsider. He is different from us. He is a particular type of brown skin that is not the acceptable type of brown skin. And he's basically a foreigner who has weird cultural like issues like sexism. None of which, by the way, none of this is true. There's no evidence of any of this. Yeah. It's all
also rich. He's also rich.
He's
That's
a doctor, but he's not. I wouldn't call him like.
He's a public health worker. I thought
he's a trained doctor, and he worked in the public health department. Which, if you're a doctor, that's where you go to get the big money. Anyways,
this is all just another way for him to be a celebrity, which I guess is cheating. It's cheating when people know you and like you.
The federal minimum wage has not moved in over 17 years. It has been 17 years since the last increase, which got it to the whopping $7.25 an hour, leaving today's wage floor at its lowest inflation-adjusted value in 7 decades. This has been the longest period of time that it hasn't been adjusted, and it essentially puts the $7.25 an hour wage is a poverty wage according to the Health and Human Services Department.
I mean, at this point, it'd be more likely for them to lower it than raise it.
I know. I mean, this is barely news because you're like, yep.
Yeah. I mean, this is part of the overall pattern of reducing the standard of living of people in this country because they can no longer afford for you to have like anything. The caveat, though, is the number of people who are making the federal minimum wage is strikingly low.
Yes, 30 states and D.C. have wage floors that are higher than the federal rate. So, like, the federal minimum wage is moot in those cases. It does leave 20 states where $7.25 is the effective minimum wage. Most of those states are in the South. Alabama, Arkansas, Georgia, North Carolina, Oklahoma, Tennessee, Texas. These all have a higher percentage of people who are actually making that wage.
Yeah. It's so according to the U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics, and I'm bringing this up because I've seen people fall on their face about this, 1% of hourly paid workers in the country are making the federal minimum wage. That's not 1% of workers. That's 1% of hourly paid workers. So it's a vanishing minority of people who get paid that little. I guess their existence is important for disciplining other workers, but this is a consequence of, like, you have to remember that all these people, the way that this economy functions is all these people need to be buying things as well as selling their labor. Otherwise, the whole thing falls apart. So it's, I'm not arguing that it's not a problem, particularly for the people who are stuck there.
Yeah. And if you go to epi.org, you can get these really cool graphs that let you like figure out what percentage of workers get paid what. If you go down to workers paid less than $10 an hour, it is a very small percentage. However, it is 682,000 Hispanic people compared to the next largest group. So it's 2% of the Hispanic population of people who could be working, and it's only 1% of the population for white, black, and Asian. So, these are wages that are legal wages and that are reported wages.
Yeah.
So if you're looking at workers who are getting paid under the table or illegally, which are also going to be Hispanic and immigrant workers, you are talking about higher numbers. It's just it's interesting to think about how. You're right. It's there to discipline. It's there to create a very, very low floor so people can get away with a lot. Most people who would say what is a living wage would say it's at least 15, if not, which was what we were saying 20 years ago, or not $25 an hour. And we're not even able to talk about those numbers because we're fucking around with like $10, $12, $13 an hour when we're talking about southern state wages.
Yeah.
But also it does not impact people the same. Young people, immigrants, Latinx people, it's the region of the country. There's like very, very, very large discrepancies about what's available to you.
Yeah. I guess if the federal minimum wage was $12, then people would be expecting 18 or 25, right? So you can say, yeah, you're only getting 12, but it could be a lot worse. You could be getting 7. But I do think like this feeds back into this conversation about immigrants and the economy as like the reason why they're targeted is the reason why they were brought in and the reason why they're overwhelmingly making these extremely low wages. They're all connected, right? Because this was like some sort of like apartheid economic system of like indentured servitude that they were running, and this is the downstream consequence is this like mass deportation move for all the wrong reasons as we've talked about ad nauseum. But
all right, how about this one? Several states report cyber attacks as spy agencies suspect Iran targeting water. An FBI EPA alert warned that malicious cyber actors have been remotely tampering with water systems. Minnesota's Bureau of Criminal Apprehension memo assessed the likely intended impact was to cause a loss of system pressure and potential water contamination. So, over the last few weeks, multiple states have reported their municipal water systems, like the core technology, the operational tech of their systems, being targeted by cyber attacks. There are reports that this is attributed to Iranian hackers. The New York Times reports that investigators believe it was, quote, probably Iran. However, Trump has publicly disputed this at a cabinet meeting during which he said he blamed the Minnesotan authorities, obviously, and, quote, said Iran should be so lucky.
Yep.
There supposedly has been no water contamination as a result of these attacks. But there were like widespread attacks across like multiple states.
Well, critical support for the Iranian cyber team. I don't know. I mean, what to make of this. It occurs to me that one of the ways of escalating this that they have not gone at is trying to attack the American homeland in any real meaningful way, because I think they understand that once attacking American facilities in America is on the table, it will escalate what will happen in Iran significantly, which, to be honest, I'm not sure the leadership there cares that much about that anymore, but maybe they do. This is a very smart way of doing that kind of escalation, right? Because I'm sure that they're going full tilt already on cyber in Iran, not to mention like other kinds of espionage and disruption. So you're not really looking at escalation per se, but I think the added element of like Trump being so PR minded that he can't even admit publicly that it happened is an interesting angle, because like how far can you push that before he's forced to admit that he can't stop them from doing this kind of thing?
Yeah, I mean, part of this, he's a special case, but it's always a tactic that as these things start to happen, especially if it's like tampering with things on the homeland, is you don't admit it. You like, first of all, I think it probably takes the actual municipal centers that are getting attacked longer than it should to report it, because Minnesota came out and said it, and then suddenly 6 more states were like, "Oh yeah, that happened to us too." So there's like just like
we thought we were just fucking it up.
Yeah. So there's just like
that was it.
It's like the operational incompetence is at play, but it's also the Trump administration would not be the first administration to downplay this relative success of certain types of attacks. So how much disruption to something do you have to do for it to be like totally out there that that's what was happening? And Trump's going to take that to an extreme, especially if he can blame like Tim Walz.
Yeah. Tim Walz got him again. I mean, I think Tim Walz probably works for the Iranians at this point.
He was the one that gave him the passwords. It wasn't a hack. It wasn't hacking.
Wouldn't you, if you were him? Fuck this country.
Well, isn't
you know what? Fuck all of these people.
Isn't Tim Walz the one that might be a Chinese spy?
Oh yeah.
He couldn't figure out which years he was where.
Yeah, he could not.
What
a twist that would be.
All these high school teachers who go on trips with their students to China might take spies.
What would you do if I told you that Hassan Piker, while in college, worked for the Department of Homeland Security?
Well, I'd look it up, because you did tell me that, and it just felt too much of a gotcha. So he worked on a project that was part of the Department of Homeland Security. It was a project that he was the marketing guy for their stupid website, which is like the least important guy on the project. He stupidly bragged about it on some podcast because he's a guy, and he probably shouldn't have, because all he's done is created like now a bunch of subreddits about how he's an operative. I think he was a little bit like starstruck that he got like to do a website for the Department of Homeland Security, and he was too dumb and egomaniacal to keep that to himself. But I do not think that they got him while he was doing their marketing website.
No, I didn't get him then. They got him way before that. And this was simply part of the track of like training.
So they got him, and they showed up. They gave him little breadcrumbs, and like finally he gets a real good breadcrumb, which is to be the know-it-all, being on the marketing of their website.
Or it's a cover for him meeting with his handlers and getting media training.
There's no way that
the CIA and
you'd lead in an interview on a podcast about your cover.
That's why you have a cover. I mean, he was asked about it and handled it very well, in my opinion.
Oh, I thought he handled it terribly. It was so like, I'm such a smart guy.
The website. That's what he's always like.
I mean, I usually don't hate him, and I hated him in that clip. But you can play the clip for our listeners.
When I was in college, this is more of a confrontation story, but when I was in college, I was working on a program called Cicada with the Department of Homeland Security, the Command Control Interoperability Center of Advanced Data Analysis.
Wow, and you have some fancy-ass titles.
Yeah, I know. It was like a mathematician, like a group of mathematicians, whatever. I'm not going to get too far into it. But I never told my boss, who was also my professor who wanted me to be on the program, that I was actually going to get up and confront kind of him and the team of math professors that are working with the government, that their website sucked, because that was kind of what we were like supposed to be doing. We were doing marketing and communications for that entire program, and I kind of he was very upset, but I had to like get up, and because he was talking about how like their website's fine, whatever, we need to shift our focus to other stuff, and I had to get up and literally be like, no, the website's not fine, and we did end up changing it, so that's good, but he wasn't too fond of that.
I mean, sometimes. Maybe he's an operative, but as an operative, he's doing more than a lot of folks right now, so I'll take it.
If he's an operative sent to destroy the Democratic Party, I'm all in favor of it. Go deep state.
Yeah. Do it. Okay, here's the last one, and this one is terrible. This is breaking news. It's being reported tonight that a Salvadoran immigrant died at Delaney Hall this past weekend. Headline is second detainee dies after being held at Delaney Hall ICE Detention Center. ACLU and New Jersey's has called it another devastating result of what is rampant inhumane conditions at Delaney Hall, including routine denial of medical care. Edwin Jovanny Lopez-Cornejo, 41, was held approximately 6 weeks after his June 18th arrest. He's the father of a 12-year-old U.S. citizen daughter. He has managed epilepsy and high blood pressure as well as high blood sugar. He is now dead.
No, that's pretty horrible. This is genocidal. I'm surprised the word's not being used, but they're doing like a mass ethnic cleansing.
I mean,
and the way that they're treating these people.
I would expect there to be some pretty significant organizing now. I mean, Delaney Hall was already pretty well organized.
Yeah.
And this is a very, very sad turn of events.
Yeah. I mean, my heart goes out to his family. I do hope that it spurns on more action there. We have seen some bold activism at Delaney Hall, so...
Somehow, also, the emergency responders showed up 37 minutes after the 911 call. They're in a major city. What the hell is that about? I went down a rabbit hole reading about EMS services in the United States. That's not done right. We're lucky to be in a city where it's actually bought and paid for by the city. So if you're in the city, the city EMS arrive, and you can expect them to be like employed and have a running vehicle,
trained and.
But I guess in most parts of the United States, it's just
private companies
and volunteers. Yeah. And so you get what you get. But like, what? That's not how like caring for that's not how emergencies should work. Like, what?
Yeah.
Oh, I live in one of those towns that barely has the ambulance. So if anything goes wrong.
I mean, the free market always delivers a better product that's in a more efficient budget. So,
well, the free market apparently doesn't have very good ambulances in Newark. How hard is it to get from one place to another in Newark?
Yeah, or ICE didn't call the ambulance and then edited the books afterwards to make it look like they did.
Well, there currently the cause of death is pending, and the family and ICE are reporting different things about what they think's happened.
They're a bunch of lying scumbags, so you can't believe any of it anyway. But either way, it's pretty terrible.
It's terrible. Okay, well, that's the end of the horrible headlines. On to the artifact.
With both of your hands, but candles will burn. And time will reveal all that you've done and the money you steal. The suffering you're causing gives you no pause for thought. You got your claws in the dead summer's heart.